If you're receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. Declaring war on the New World Order. TruthRadioShow.com. So sorry for the rant here, but anyway, guys, we're gonna go to a quick break, and so I hope you guys like eating bugs, because that's what the elite want. Or if you don't like bugs, yeah, they want you to eat their garbage meat, or even being a cannibalist. Yeah, to save the earth, they want you to eat people too. New York Times is talking about this. Crazy. We're gonna get to all this and more when we get back from the break. But we played the psychic last week, but again, Paul Joseph Watson, they're making your kids eat bugs. We'll be right back.
4 schools in Wales are set to conduct a science experiment, which will see children aged 5 to 11 eat bugs in the hopes that they can pressure their parents to take up a similar diet. The primary schools will encourage kids to eat crickets, grasshoppers, locusts and mealworms. And there you were thinking your school meals were bad. In the late 80s, they made us eat plain dry liver. But give me that any day over the spindly, beady-eyed insect buffet. The science experiment is, of course, an exercise in climate change social engineering. The children will be coerced into ditching meat from their diets in the name of reducing their carbon footprint. And the technocrats admit it's all part of a ploy to weaponize the kids to brainwash their own parents. Researcher Verity Jones from the University of West England hopes that children can be persuaded to eat insects and then in turn use their power of pester against their parents to get them to eat bugs too. The children therefore act as great agents of dietary change within the family. Yes, the Bugman agenda has progressed from merely being promoted by the media and hip pieces in lifestyle magazines to now basically being a part of your child's school curriculum. A recent decision by the Food Standards Agency means that bugs and insects will be on UK supermarket shelves within months. It's the latest incarnation of a now familiar technocratic agenda. Contrived crises that cause global food price hikes, global warming alarmism browbeating the public into eating less meat and minimising their travel, compelling the public into blithely accepting lower living standards, characterised by bug-eating, pod-dwelling neo-feudalism. Everyone eats insects every day. There's over 30 parts of bugs in every 100 grams of chocolate. Bread, fruit juices, hops, you name it, you're eating insects. Yeah, last week while I was hiking, I accidentally swallowed a midge. It was gross. It wasn't a tasty snack. What's the big deal? People in China eat bugs. Yeah, they also eat bats. It's a no from me. Now the cartoon villains at the World Economic Forum are telling you to eat algae and cacti in order to save the planet. This after they promoted the eco-virtues of eating weeds and drinking sewage water. You'll drink the sewage water and you will be happy. But it seems those delicacies weren't on the menu at last week's annual gathering of global elitists at the Davos Summit. Neither did they make an appearance at last year's COP26 climate change conference after thousands of technocrats arrived in luxury private jets, where most of the menu included animal-based ingredients. No algae, no seaweed, no sewage water, and no bugs. Do as we say, not as we do. To get exclusive content, early access...
Thank you for supporting TruthRadioShow.com in our continuous fight against the New World Order. If you want to donate and help contribute toward our daily news show and our spiritual warfare ministries, contribute any amount to the following links in the description. That's our PayPal, our Venmo, or our CashApp. Or just simply take out your camera and scan the code bars on the screen. And we thank you once again for help supporting the fight against the New World Order. And remember, you are the resistance. God bless. All right, guys, so welcome back. So I hope you like eating bugs, because that's what the elite want you to do. And, yeah, crazy stuff, man. And, yeah, I can't begin with words to explain the stupidity, and it really is. And but, the New York Times is also offering another alternative. They said if the food runs out, you could be a cannibalist. And the New York Times actually did put a publication out. It was a piece dedicated to representation of cannibalism in the modern culture. Some readers were shocked to see the serious article suggesting cannibalism has a time and place. Yeah, and if you want the pre-programming, they got the St. Clarita diet. It's a show on Netflix. It's disgusting. It's about a mother who likes to eat people, and the kids and the father kill people to feed it to her. You know what I mean? And sick stuff, man. And they're promoting all this occultic stuff, man. It's disgusting. Yes, it's occultic too. So I mentioned this, I think, Monday or last week, whatever, but it was an article by the New York Times caused an uproar among Twitterians, people on Twitter, since many users suggested it looked like a newspaper was backing the idea of eating other people. And the piece name was from the New York Times says, A Taste for Cannibalism. Basically promoting, yes. And it was published by Alex Beggs in Saturday's New York Times style section, where dedicated to the representation of cannibalism in the modern culture. Some readers were shocked to see a serious article suggesting that cannibalism has a time and place. So what is the time? What is the place? Then it goes on to say, oh, yeah, well, you know what? When the food runs out, yeah, eat your neighbor. So I guess John Hall, yeah, you don't have to worry about sharks eating you too. Now you got to worry about people eating you. Unbelievable. So, man, I can't describe this, Brian. This is like just weird, man.
Well, it goes back to with being in the broadcast when we was talking about zombies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all, it cannot make it up. If anybody if we all would just take the time and literally, focus on these things. I mean, this is like you said, it's pre-programming, it's conditioning. We've been talking about this through the whole broadcast. Okay. Do you remember that newscaster? Who was that newscaster that was, it was either on CNN. He was an anchor. What was his name? He had like curly gray hair. He went to another country. Did you see that? He literally, it was like in 2017. I cannot, help me out, everybody in the chat. If I'm not mistaken, he literally was on TV eating human brains. There was a tribe over there, and he was literally going along with the program. And it was either just a show or whatever. Do you remember that, Dan? It was so sick. I don't remember the guy's name. I cannot remember to save my life, but there was some type of tribalistic kind of thing. I can't even remember what country he was in, right? But the thing is, it's broadcasted on our television. So this is crazy, man. This is just straight up crazy. And it reminds me of like some of these like apocalyptic movies, right? Like, they've been putting this in the last 15 years. You can go look. I mean, they've been inundated with zombies and all kinds of nuclear. I mean, all the stuff that we're talking about in the broadcast. I mean, they've been, pumping that out into the whole narrative, and this is going in front of our children's eyes, right? So it's just so wicked. I could go on a big rant about this because I was listening to a thing. Since we're on Rumble, I'll go ahead and speak upon it. There was some type of mRNA, some type of genetic code. I cannot remember. That was laced, something to do with the all the ingredients that's in this C19 vax, right? So like there was something in it that would cause you to have one of the receptors on your brain, something to do with your brain or something like you're kind of referring to, but it would you could start biting. It would actually cause you. It could actually cause with that luciferase thing, all that coding, all those different things. It actually cause you to start biting, and this is what this reminds me of, right? Like. It's kind of freaking me out because I will tell you this. All these things are inundated with this is synthetic food. And I know there's the next article getting ready to pop off. We're getting ready to talk about some things with some extra meat and stuff. But the things, I will speak about this again. The fetal cells and all that stuff is being incorporated into our food. I mean, I'm sorry, but you can go look this up. It's just a lot to take in. But it's pretty diabolical because they're literally getting you accustomed to eating. Just go look it up, Cinemex and all that. They're getting you used to human flesh. I'm not trying to be weird and be a conspiracy theorist, but this is what when I see this article, that's what it resonates with me.
Yeah.
And they're literally conditioning people to believe that, and this has been happening through cultures and civilizations when there's a total collapse in the society. This stuff, there's nothing new under the sun, Ecclesiastes. So that's all I'm going to say. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, man. And in the article here, the author of the article is quoting this journalist, author, Lyle Ledge, whatever his name is. Lyle, whatever. What's his last name? So anyway, he's quoting somebody that wrote a book about this woman, talk about she'll eat her husband's liver on crackers or something crazy stuff. But the piece mentions multiple shows and movies depicting people who devour human flesh Beggs cited Ashley Lyle, that's the author of this rated book called Yellow Jackets, which features graphic cannibalistic scenes. She's suggesting that the global pandemic, political turmoil, climate change, and school shootings may be fueling the desire for cannibalism stories today. So, yeah, all right, okay. So they're using these excuses, right? Global pandemic, all right. I don't think that's an excuse enough to eat other people. Political turmoil, I don't think politics has anything to do with eating in general. But yeah, climate change, and then school shooting. So how does a school shooting urge you to want to eat people? This is insane, man. Like,
amen. It's insane.
Any of these things, like what would make you go through your head that you want to ingest another human being? Global pandemic, political turmoil, climate change, or school shootings may be fueling the desire for cannibalism. No, it's fueling your insanity, not nobody else. So I feel like the unthinkable has become the thinkable, and cannibalism is very much squarely in a category of unthinkable, Lyle alleged. And I think, Lyle, you got some personal issues because you surely don't speak for most people, and I know you don't speak for me, and I can say you don't speak for Brian or anybody in the chat room. But yeah, I think you got some personal issues and some weird fetishes because you don't speak, okay, school shootings and climate change, anything like that, which is fake climate change. But yeah, none of this stuff would make me even think about even eating, never mind eating people.
Absolutely. This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Just a big wow.
Well, one thing to add to it, until God turns the spigot off and the windows of heaven and makes the land desolate where there's no way to, grow anything that's green, there's no excuse for this article. There's no excuse for this type of insanity. You can put a seed in the ground. You can grow a garden. It can be done. We are supposed to be tillers of the ground. We're supposed to be tillers. We're supposed to be able to be decent farmers. We just got to get clear ahead of all this junk. Anybody can do it. You can grow a garden. There's no excuse. It doesn't. There's no reason to have. No, I'm sorry. Famine, unless God turns the spigot off and makes the land desolate. If He's blessing and manna and all that raining down from heaven, and literally, there's no excuse for what we're eating right now. There's no excuse. You can extract seeds and continue on making seeds from particular plants. You can do it. This is just crazy talk. It's insanity. It's insanity. It is. You can be a vegetarian. I mean, come on now. We can survive. We made it this far. I mean, come on. I always ask all the time, how did we get to this? Like, how did we get here? Like, if our ancestors was caught up in pharmakia and all those different things, how did they get here? How did you get here if you could not, I understand
bugs. I hate to say that. I'd rather eat bugs and worms and
absolutely,
another person.
Absolutely. But if the ground is vibrant, you can eat the green grass. There's things you can forage in your backyard right now. Let it grow up a little bit. Go do some foraging. You can survive. I promise.
Absolutely. And if you're not kosher with that, because they're trying to eliminate beef and everything else, man, and that's why they're trying to euthanize the cows. We had our buddy Roger Hop from the Netherlands talking about the huge revolution going on in the Netherlands with the Dutch and the government, because the government with the European Union and the whole climate change agenda, they're trying to euthanize 30% of cows. That's ridiculous, man. That'll cripple the farming industry. But you know what? If you meat is your thing, they want you to eat lab-grown meat, and they said an investment in a lab-grown meat intensifying. In other words, it's growing rapid, like intensifying, I should say. I can't talk today. So investments in plant-based meat have cooled off in the last year, with many venture capitalists turning their attention to lab-grown meat. Just the sound of that lab-grown meat just makes me want to vomit. It really does. But the lab-grown meat, also cultured meat, cultivated and cell-based protein, is made using stem cells harvested from living animals with no slaughter necessary. Instead, harvesting cells that introduce a cultural medium containing the necessary growth materials and placed in the bioreactor, ultimate producing the final product that looks and tastes like traditional real meat. And the venture capitalists invested $2 billion into the cultivation protein last year. So what they're saying is, there's a lot of money going into this, and which you all know the farms are being shut down, the farms are being bought out. Bill Gates is buying all the farmland. If you could, see the writings on the wall, they're gonna make you eat that. Oh yeah, you don't worry, you can eat people, but if you don't like that, there is lab-based meat, and now Nicole Kidman. And then, before you get to this, I want to show you this. Yeah, this isn't. Remember the show Fear Factor and all these shows out there. And the things you have to eat bugs and all that stuff, and it was like tabloid stuff. Now it's become intuition. They're literally selling bugs in places, edible bugs, and they're selling them everywhere. And here, when I'm right in my city, they're having August 2nd. I'm gonna try to make this. Bugs are delicious, so they're having this at the Cranston Public Library, and I heard they're doing this all over the country. But bugs are delicious. It's they're inviting people to bring their kids. Do you eat bugs? Maybe you should. Come learn about all about why eating bugs is good for you and the environment. So this girl April Alex from Providence Parks Urban and Wildlife Refuge Partnership even tastes some great bugs. So they're telling kids, you can learn about bugs, and the bugs are actually good for you and the environment. So in other words, they're going to program the kids, the cows, and they're going to go all that. Certain cows and all that, animals, like cows and all that. They provide methane gases to destroy the ozone, all kinds of stupid stuff. And then I'm going to have kids in this library, and shame on the parents that allow this to happen. Come on down, you can taste what bugs taste like. And this is a special note, people with shellfish allergies should not try our bugs treats as they might be allergic. How about being allergic to the point that you gotta eat these things, and what the hell? And they got them in Jell-O cubes.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Dead bugs in Jell-O cubes.
Man.
Yeah.
Some gelatin, little pork action. Why don't you just throw it on top of it?
Yeah.
Ugh.
And I don't think half these bugs are kosher anyway, right?
No. Insanity.
Yeah, and we talked about I think it was a locust that what's his name ate in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think it was John, wasn't it?
John, yeah. But half these bugs are not even kosher. So it's another problem too, And I'm sure the synthetic beef ain't. Sorry. I'm sure the synthetic beef here ain't kosher either. But
I know that KFC, those nuggets that they introduced in with the little angel wings on it and promoting on I'm not going to put it up on your channel, but that's like impossible meat. I seen a big segment about Russia was like their first beta test for that. And literally they was going around doing interviews and stuff. And the Russians, this is maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago or something like that. And they was introducing it to the public and giving everybody taste tests and like, hey, you believe this is synthetic? You believe it's inside this is all made in the lab? And literally people was pre-programmed enough to say, dude, it's awesome, man. It's awesome. This is the greatest thing ever. I don't care if it's from a lab. Well, literally you ought to see the process, how it's layered with all the fatty tissue and stuff. And then it's incorporating some heavy, let's just say I know there's some listeners on here, and I apologize if it's been kind of tough on this show. I don't want to ever make somebody upset because we talk about some pretty deep stuff here.
Yeah.
This is some pretty gross stuff, and I pray that I don't ever offend or upset anybody or shape or form. So please forgive me if I come across as little just blunt, like, hey, this is, like this is fetal cells and all this stuff. But the little wings and stuff with the KFC, please stay away from that. Please, for the love of everything. Because it's just not good for your well-being. I can promise you that. And this is what this this article Invest in the Lab. They're all going for it, Dan. They're all going for it. It's going to have to come back to the farmers. You're going to have to find organic, fresh, and try to do the best you can. That's just the way it's going to be. It's where it's going to come to. So I'm just saying. That's my 2 cents.
Oh yeah, check this out, man. Eating spider challenge. This is a big TikTok thing, and there's a challenge out there. Basically, if you see a spider in the web, I've seen some of these videos. Like there's a spider in the web outside or something, and his friend takes a video and he goes over, bites, eats the spider, the whatever the spider is in the web. But this is one of the challenges here.
Wow.
Without the commercial here. But,
wow.
Yeah.
That's all I can say is wow.
Sunday.
Hell no.
From
Don't.
Party. Oh.
You are.
So
Their funniest challenge.
Direction.
Their craziest. Their funniest challenge.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna show all the videos. But yeah, there's spider eating challenges. Yeah, and I don't have time for all these ads and everything. But you can go look this up for yourself, guys. I'm sure you want to save your stomachs here. But yeah, this is insane. And guess what? Nicole Kidman She's out there promoting this. Eating Bugs, Secret Talent Theater, Vanity Fair.
I'm Nicole Kidman, and I am going to eat a 4-course meal of bugs. I am here to reveal my hidden talent, eating micro livestock, cornworms. They're still alive. Extraordinary. Very moist, chewy. Can't quite describe the flavor, but need a little water. Let's start.
It almost looks like an Addams
Family.
Family's bonus feature. You know what I'm saying? It makes me think of Addams Family.
People in the world eat bugs.
You know what I mean?
I'm one of
it
them.
really does.
Here we go.
Yep.
Have some mealworms.
Let's try some mini worms, and you get the point there.
Very.
These whatever
Awesome.
these beetles or something.
Like nothing you've ever tasted.
I've used those type of worms before in fishing. Years ago. I haven't been fishing in years, but.
Yeah, man, this is insane, man. And they're promoting this everywhere. And like Ellen and Nicole Kidman try learning cooking skills and with bugs and that's all over the place, man. The spider challenge too. I guess she ate a giant tarantula. So whatever I don't know, man. It's just crazy, man.
It's just it's grotesque.
Stuff,
it's grotesque. It's grotesque. Yeah. This is all tactics of the devil. Like the Nephilim and the Raphaim, they knew this was all been brought down from the fallen angels. We could go on a big topic about this and go on a big rant, but this is all to break down the culture, break down society, and literally say that you're not important enough. You're so bad. You're the image of God. You're so trashy. You just eat this crappy bug. You know what I mean? They're literally demeaning God's image. This is just, it's satanic, man. You know what I'm saying? For real. I mean, just straight up,
It is, man, and promote cannibalism and in the occult world, guys, people you ever hear the spirit cooking and all that? That stuff's real. You know what I mean? And granted, some things are Photoshop, absolutely, but these people eat the dead. They eat like feces, menstrual blood, it's disgusting stuff. Crap, literally crap, diarrhea. Like they'll eat the stuff, you know what I mean? And they're gagging as they eat it, but they still eat it, you know what I mean? And it is insane what these people do, man. And we should do a show on it sometime, man. But
no joke.
A show that and only people have a good stomach because wow. It's crazy stuff, man. But anyway, could grasshoppers really replace beef? So, like we said, we got the the synthetic beef and everything else. But now, saying grasshoppers could replace beef, and this is from BBC News. So, people in Europe, you ain't safe either. For most people in Europe and the U.S., the idea of eating crickets and grasshoppers can seem revolting, but they are a popular snack of part of Africa and Asia. Well, first of all, this is not Africa. Okay, this is not Asia. No, all due respect to them. All right, but not only they packed with nutrients, but they are less harmful to the climate too. So that's here, and you're gonna see this a lot. They're always gonna use excuse for the climate. That's the propaganda. That's the mantra, the brain control of the climate. You're saving the climate. You're gonna hear that over and over again, right? Even if it tastes like crap. Oh, you're saving the climate though. That's the goal right there. Okay, that's the globalist agenda. They use the climate bullcrap to God, here's the thing too. I'm gonna say this too. If you're a self-professing Christian, you believe in Jesus Christ, you believe in the Bible, all right. And if you out there say, "Well, we're gonna save the planet so we don't kill ourselves," and I need to smack you over the head with the Bible because the Bible lays out what's gonna happen to the earth. And if you think for 1 minute that our Heavenly Father, who created the earth, right? If you think for 1 minute He's going to let mankind destroy this planet and deter from His plans for this planet, you're out of your mind, okay? You should go back to reading the Bible instead of listening to the idiot in your church. And most of the churches are promoting this stuff. They're saying we need to save the earth. They're promoting the climate change garbage. When in the Bible says what's going to happen to this earth. God's going to cleanse this whole earth with fire. He's going to create a new heaven and a new earth. He's got to do this, okay? Not nuclear bombs, not man-made climate change and man-made weather weapons. He's got to do that. And that's why half the stuff fails because God doesn't allow it to happen. He's got control of things. Look at the climate agendas, the summits. Ready to push a global government 2010. God threw the monkey wrench in the works, the blizzards. Just this last year, they were ready to sign another one of these treaties. God stopped it altogether. You know what I mean? Several nations backed out because, yeah, it's fake. You know, there's no such thing as climate change, man-made anyway. It takes thousands of years for a climate to change, and that's only what God allows to happen. You know what I mean? But yeah, so they're telling people all over Europe and the United States, oh yeah, it's going to save the planet if you eat bugs. They're packed with nutrients, and they're less harmful to the climate. So the air in the family home of Uganda was filled with distinct aroma, not dissimilar to the smell of beef being grilled, but they're saying it was frying grasshoppers. Well, again, okay, no offense against Uganda, okay, no offense against people in Africa, but this is not Africa. Okay, we like our beef. We like cows. Okay, same thing. I can speak for the people in Europe. We love to eat the cows. Okay, we like the hamburger. We like the steaks, and there's nothing wrong with these things. This is what God's put on the planet for us to eat. These are kosher animals for us to eat. Okay, and so again, no disrespect to people in Africa, but you know, if you want to live like that, go to Africa, please. We don't want that culture here. We want to eat our beef. We want to eat our chicken and our fish and all that. Okay, plain and simple. And I don't want tingly things going down my throat. You know, that could possibly choke me. It's disgusting. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So they stirred the green beans and crisp locusts like insects, and stronger than rich aroma became. So long story short, this article to save the content time. Yeah, they're talking about these countries like Uganda and all that, how they eat all this stuff, and it smells like real beef and everything else, and it's good for you. It's just a propaganda to say, you know what? And the sustainability benefits of eating. And here we go. There's the agenda right there. The sustainability benefits of insects. Sustainability is a gigantic, okay, UN Agenda 21 propaganda tool. The sustainability, which is saving the planet, they're saying. That's it right there. It's nothing to do with anything. That's what the agenda is about. And some places they do have to eat bugs or whatever the case. So who knows? But here we have plenty of cows and everything else. We don't need to eat this stuff, you know what I mean? And your thoughts, Brian?
It's just, like I said before, is to break us down and literally make us submit to a government system that they're, giving out and producing some type of food nourishment, but God has gave us ability to do it. The climate change, all that is a joke. Okay, so if it was climate change, we wouldn't be here living in 2022, because that would have been climate change for what? I mean, thousands of years from the Adam and Eve, 7 to 10,000 years ago from the Garden of Eden. I mean, come on now. I mean, it's a joke. It's such a joke with the whole narrative what they're spilling out. And this is all, we can just go ahead and chuck it. This is Raphine, demonic spirits pushing the agenda. I mean, just plain and simple. I mean,
it is.
And there's no, I'm sorry, Dan, go ahead.
Oh, that's all right. No, Tasting Table reports that white Europeans may soon be eating more insects. Yeah, imagine that on your plate. Hey, kids, come get your dinner. These giant grasshoppers. But they said in 2017, the United Nations reported the world population. Yeah, we go again. This is where it's at, guys. They push their propaganda right there. Again, right off the bat, instead of talking about the bugs, so maybe talk about the nutrients of them and everything else that they may be good for you, which we know they're not probably. But right away, they start you off. This is the mind control. The UN reported the world population was 7.6 billion people and predicted to grow about 83 million more people each year, reaching 8.6 billion people by the year 2030. If you notice, this number comes up so many times. 2030, 2030, 2030. And here in Rhode Island, the governor's got a website, something 2030. The UN's got Agenda 2030. Everything's 2030. That's their goal, to push the New World Order. That's what their global says. There's nothing to do. And the thing is, they're saying, the population's going to increase to 8.6, and we're already populated. We're not overpopulated. So that's the propaganda they push, even before they even begin to talk about bugs. See what they're doing here? They're using subliminal tactics, okay? And here we go. Look, they talk about the food production will need to grow, and the complicated matters as middle class grows, and the demand for meat versus grains, legumes, and wheat. So basically they're saying, the shortages and all that. They're the ones who create the shortages, remember that. They're the ones who are killing cows, so yeah. They're creating the meat shortages. They're shutting down the fields with the wheat and everything else, or Russia and all the Ukraine stuff. They're the ones causing this. And they're using this as propaganda to say, we could combat all this, save the planet and everything else, and we got to lower the world's population. That's what they're saying, because we don't have enough food, which we do. God says to be fruitful and multiply. And I was actually doing some study. I forgot how he did it, and doing some math, right? And just to think how many people were before the flood. And I truly believe there was hundreds of millions of billions of people. You know, people say 8 billion, you know, 7 billion people on the planet now. I truly think there was more, because now remember, guys, check this out. What we have oceans, the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean, they weren't there before. There were cities spreading from here all the way to across the ocean, the Pacific Ocean to Europe, and you know, the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean here and the East Coast. There were cities all along this way. You could actually walk across what's now the ocean. And what happens when the flood came, when the water subsided, those are just lower levels, like lower altitudes of levels, land levels, and that's why they stayed flooded. That's why they find hundreds of underwater cities constantly. So yeah, so if you think the world's overpopulated now, and I really truly believe that we had hundreds of billions of people on this planet, and I really don't. And people say, well, how could you get that from Adam and Eve? Well, if you do that, Adam lived to be 930 years old. All right, you know how many kids you could have in freaking 900 years? And here's the thing: this is so complicated to think about, right? When Adam and Eve, right? Check this out, right? When their great grandkids were being born, right? They were still producing babies. It blows your mind. It really does. So when you had Seth and you know, Cain, you know, and later on they had that generations like you know, like getting to the you know, the bloodlines, whatever the case. But basically, just imagine you, right? You're just say you're a father, right? Your son grows up, has a kid, right? Your kid has a kid, your kid has a kid, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7 generations down the line, and you and your wife are still producing babies. Could you imagine how the population would explode off of 2 people? Yeah. Put that into perspective, all right? And each generation, it would expand like, dramatically. And plus, we don't even know back then. Who knows, maybe babies are born quicker than 9 months. We don't know, you know what I mean? Because things were different. People did live longer and all that. And so, you know, so does this population sound hard to believe? 8.6 billion people, which is nothing. And then Ken Hovind, he said that if you did the math right, you could fit the whole world's population in Jacksonville, Florida. You know what I mean? We're far from being overpopulated. But this is the mind control. That's what I'm trying to point out. Mm-hmm. Then they start getting into, oh, you know what? This is a trend going on. It's, you know, saying it's popular when it's not. This is a trend going on, right, to make you think it's popular. Number one, they just brainwash you because you got to save the planet. Number two, they're saying, oh, look, it's a trend going on to make it sound popular. Now you got your eyes open. Now the reader's like, you know what? I think I might try this because it's going to save the planet, and it is popular, so if a lot of people like it, it must be good. So see the program going on here? Even before they even got into the nutritional value of the crickets, I read this earlier today. They've already programmed you with this massive mind control about global warming and, you know, climate change, whatever. And they already said, oh, it's common and, you know, it's a trend. People trying it and they love it. So if they just programmed you, even before you got to the meat and potatoes of the article, they just hooked you, plain and simple. Mm-hmm. That's the mind control of the mainstream media, man. Mm-hmm. If you want to throw anything in there, go for it.
Well, I mean, well, like you say, you got a good point about the population before the flood, you know, like... And even in this article, Dan, look at it. I mean, it says 8.6 billion people in 2030, and then it goes to 9.8 billion in 2050. So you only get like a billion and a half? Like, am I doing the correct? Like, there's only 1 billion people that you're reproduced in 20 years?
Yeah.
I mean, and so look, if you look at it, wasn't it in the 90s, wasn't we like at 4? Wasn't it like in the late 90s, wasn't we like at 4 or something? And the population was like 4.5 billion people or something, Dan, yeah. Or something like that. Something crazy, right?
Yeah.
So like, it don't add up right there. The number doesn't even add up. That's just a fabricated number, right? And then like, you was talking about different land masses and stuff. I mean, come on, Dan. There's, you know, the Google Earth looks like paper mache when it comes into the water in all these oceans. I mean, this is what I've been trying to expose. You know, talk about on Cutting Edge a lot. You know, to be authorized to not go so far, right? Like when the military, you have brute force to tell you, hey, you'll be shot down, you'll be shot of the water, or whatever. You can't go no farther, right? Then you get into the ice wall, and then you look at the Book of Enoch, and you can, you know, kind of get a little bit of a concordance of what you're looking at. I mean, there's something crazy going on. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like the lands, the Admiral Byrd narrative, all this stuff is just like wild. And I don't know, like you was talking about the population being set up in a part of Florida. I've heard Texas. I've heard every individual can be back to front, back to back, shoulder to shoulder, and literally live in Texas. And I know that's a huge cover up too. I mean, look how much land is freed up. I mean, there's a ton of land, right? Even with the population that we have.
Yeah,
I'm
travel
just not.
across the country, man, and so much habitable land that you can live off, and it's just empty. It's,
Yeah,
like Ken Holmes said, if you think you're overpopulated, you don't like where you are, move.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't know how to farm anymore.
Yeah.
We don't know how to be self-efficient, right? We depend on a restaurant being on every corner, right? We all been conditioned for that, correct? So here's the thing, like we could literally, even everybody in this broadcast and the one this morning or this afternoon with the cutting edge, we could all literally, I know this is going to sound, like crazy, but we could all get together and literally there's no need, no need for starvation. Unless God, like I said earlier, turns the spigot off and, makes it desolate. But I mean, this is crazy. It's just crazy. And being fruitful and multiply, you're right, Dan. I mean, who knows? Like you said, 900 something years old, Adam and Eve and all that. I mean, even Methuselah, you look at how old they was. I mean, these guys, I know you understand. This is crazy, right? I mean, you're right, Dan. It could be like, who knows how many was before the flood. I'm with you on this. It's crazy.
Yeah, because just the oceans alone, I mean, the cities under the ocean, man. Like, it's a shot, and then plus the continents that we don't know. We know there's more land than they show us in the map. But this planet, we could add trillions of people on this planet, literally. You know what I mean? And that would explain, like, we had the flood and everything too. There's a lot of stuff involved. But man, I tell you, you can't do all the stuff, and it boggles your mind, man. It really does. And so Vice Magazine is saying we will soon be drinking. As soon as I get this article right, drinking pee and eating crickets on a floating prison barge. An investigation, they say. So there we go again. Once again, if you're an extremely bad dog in Canada, the answer is possibly yes. So Mike Adams of naturalnews.com, he's awesome. I love the guy. I know him very well. But anyway, he says the self-proclaimed health ranger, well, the article says they're bashing Mike Adams. That's what they're doing. Mike Adams is amazing. That's naturalnews.com. But anyway, Mike Adams, a self-proclaimed health ranger, owner of the conspiracy-added health website of Natural News, and frequent guest on Alex Jones, so they're making him out to be a lunatic, even before the article starts. So anyway, turns out articles with admirable frequency nearly as often as create the true and deniability turn-off phase. So Natural News is a major hub, so they're just sitting there bashing them before you even get to the article. Bashing the hell out of Mike Adams. So anyway, he says, welcome to the police state. You'll be eating crickets and drinking pee on a floating prison barge, basically bashing them because Mike Adams is, for years, I remember when I was down in Austin working for InfoWars, and I hung out with Mike Adams a lot. And so, like, we were talking about this for years ago. You know what I mean? That's what that global, because we read the agenda. That's what they want to do. I don't know how many articles I brought up about them telling, hey, to drink your own pee. You know what I mean? To eat your own feces and stuff like that. And Mike Adams is not far-fetched when he says. So, of course, the media bashes them. Even though they promote this, we just read several articles. Even Nicole Kidman promoting eating bugs. But, they're bashing them. Unreal, huh? So, point one, will we be eating crickets? So, they sit there and, saying that basically most likely not, whatever the case. And even though the mainstream is promoting eating crickets, we just read it. You know what I mean? So they'll sit there and I'm just showing you this. I'm not going to read through the whole article. I'm just showing you what these people do. Okay? Even though they admit this, there's in their agendas. Look at the libraries having this stuff and all that. They'll bash you for saying it, though. You know, the whole thing when they used to bash Alex Jones because he said the frogs are turning gay from the Roundup stuff, and the pesticides, and it wasn't his words. I was there that day when he had the article. I printed the article out for him to read that. And what happened was it was a Berkeley University study. It came out of California. Berkeley University Medical said the the atrazine, the chemical there, it's a pesticide. The atrazine, the runoff in the water will turn aquatic animals, start humping their own, like in other words, turn them gay, So all he did was read that on the air. And of course, the media bashed the hell out of him, even though this was a major publication study. They bashed him as if he made it up. So this is what they're doing. Even though we just read tons of mainstream media, we're going to be insects and crickets and right there, yeah. Then Vice magazine, damn conspiracy theorists. You know what I mean? See the mind control? You know what I mean? And the hypocrisy, and they put their own foot in their mouth. In the last article here, the Washington Times says, Bill Gates, let them eat bugs. But yeah, hold on, Vice magazine. I thought Mike Adams was a conspiracy theorist lunatic. Huh? Oh yeah, but you got Bill Gates, let them eat bugs. Mm-hmm. And Attorney General of North Dakota just cleared the way for Bill Gates to buy a couple of 1,000 acres of farmland. Yeah, that's crazy. North Dakota, Bill Gates is buying thousands of acres of farmland, adding to his already impressive level of property holding across America. Bill Gates is now the largest landowner of farms in America now. And the question is, of course, why would the former Microsoft executive spent the last 2 years trying Americans to be more like China when it comes to coronavirus protections and enforcing COVID-19 shots and want to prime farmland at all? So why would he want this farmland? So it goes on to talk about how he wants you to eat bugs. Okay, they're going to grow bugs on these farms, synthetic crap and everything else, and soy-based diets and all kinds of crap out there. And this is actually from the World Economic Forum. September 2019, it says, burgers, bugs, and shift the new way of eating. So, yeah, Vice magazine, I thought we were conspiracy theorists. There it is, the World Economic Forum. Remember that a couple of years ago? We actually read one of these articles here. They're saying that burgers, bugs, and shift the new way of eating. The World Economic Forum has been promoting the hell out of people eating bugs. And look at all these titles, headlines. All things bugs. Another U.S. startup raised a startup company, $110,000 initial seed funding from Bill Gates and Melinda Gates to develop eco-friendly, ready-to-therapeutic food product made from insects and children, famine-stricken countries. And long story short, yeah, this is Bill Gates and the World Economic Forum and all these publications and everything they wrote that we should be eating bugs and synthetic lab-grown meat and everything else, and that's why Bill Gates is buying up all this farmland for. He owns more farms than anybody in this country. So you put two and two together, and Vice magazine, you just sound like a retard, plain and simple. Anna Marie, this journalist here. Anna Merlin, senior staff writer, yeah. I think you better go back to investigation or something because you just made yourself look like a total retard. Yeah. Mike Adams is a conspiracy theorist, but yeah, here we are. Bill Gates and the World Economic Forum, Nicole Kidman, all these globals saying, you got to be eating bugs. And the Attorney General saying, we're selling this land to Bill Gates. It's just crazy, it really is. They're saying we gotta eat bugs to prevent a global disaster, to prevent climate change. Kill all the cows, and we gotta eat bugs and synthetic lab-grown meat. Go ahead, Brian, I'm sorry.
No, I was interrupting you. It's to weaken us. I mean, literally to just deprive us of any nourishment. I mean, that's all I can see here. I mean, remember we did a show together with the cows upside down, and that whole theory on it was heat exhaustion and all that. I mean, look what they're doing. Look at all the craziness they're doing, right? So they're literally pushing this agenda to get us to eat crickets and get us to eat insects. I mean, that's what they're going to be pushing, right? Because all the cows are going up and bellying up. I think I just heard not just today that all the cattle farmers are trying to set everything off because some type of it's to do with climate change, etc. There's too expensive to keep up with them and all the upkeep and all that. So they're selling them off into the corporations. So guess what happens? Euthanization. Come on now, they're going to kill them. They're going to, this is what's going to happen. So when the big pockets roll up, they're going to take the money and just run. You know what I'm saying? They're going to bail on their business. If they've been cattle ranchers. So guess what happens? This is what Dan's talking about today. It's what we're talking about with the narrative of pushing this cricket, just all this diabolical stuff they're doing to the population. It's crazy, man. Can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And this is a good article talking about this all. But, man, yeah, you can't make this stuff up, man. And so that, guys, concludes the news broadcast. So we're going to get into a little scripture. And thank you for supporting TruthRadioShow.com in our continuous fight against the New World Order. If you want to donate and help contribute toward our daily news show and our spiritual warfare ministries, contribute any amount to the following links in the description. That's our PayPal, our Venmo, or our CashApp. Or just simply take out your camera and scan the code bars on the screen. And we thank you once again for help supporting the fight against the New World Order. And remember, you are the resistance. God bless. Declaring war on the New World Order. TruthRadioShow.com.